Could you just start by telling me your name and where you're from, both in terms of country and organisation?
Thank you. That is my sign name, and the name is Ambrose Murangira. I'm in Uganda, and where I work at UNAD. I work as the Executive Director of UNAD.
And how long have you worked at UNAD for?
Now 3 years. I've been here for 3 years. But before that, I was in UNAD in a different capacity. I was a member when I was young, at the age of 12. That is when I joined UNAD. And I was a member from Western Uganda, my home district. So I continued to be a member. Then after I joined the board of UNAD, I was the chairperson for 8 years. So after I resigned, I worked as a consultant, an independent consultant. Then later on, I came back to UNAD as the executive director.
Oh, so you've been in the deaf sector for a number of years.
Yes. In the deaf community, also hearing community. Why? I became deaf in primary 6 when I was 12 years. When I became deaf, I stayed in the mainstream schools. Because they wanted me to go to the special schools, but I said no, because I already had friends. It was hard for me to withdraw and leave my best friends in the hearing schools. So I decided to stay. There were challenges. I didn't know sign language. There were no interpreters. So what I used to do is to use my friends to copy notes from my friends, and I used to read a lot. I used to go to the library, pick books and read, and I went on like that. I have been to the university and I have finished masters, and I'm processing PhD.
Wow. So how did you learn sign language?
I learned sign language through meeting deaf community. When I meet deaf, in that same year, I tried to meet people with disabilities in my village. Then that person showed me the deaf group. It was my first time. I never knew that deaf people existed. I met them. I saw them signing. I only looked on. Then later on, as we used to meet again and again, I got a contact of UNAD. And UNAD used to come to my district to teach sign language to the community, and I was also in that group. I came, learned sign language, then now I can sign perfectly well.
And what about your family? When you were growing up, did they also learn sign language? Did you feel included at home? And what about your classmates? If you stayed in mainstream education, did you find it difficult to remain friends with your hearing peers, or did they also learn sign language?
It has been a challenge. My friends, many students, my friends, and the families do not know sign language. I tried to communicate with them in a different way, through writing. We write, and if they're advising me, it is through written, but not signs. Or you use the local way of speaking some small things like eating. We go to play, football, those basic signs, but not in details. And if you explain something in a meeting, for example, if there is a group doing coursework, they would only help me through writing. That is how I lived. And the family, they learned some small signs, but not through training, but through myself. I used to give them some small signs, but now they can sign very well. All my family, they can sign with me very well.
And how do you think that families and villages can be helped to improve the lives of deaf children in Uganda?
From my personal experience, how I suffered when I became deaf, it was a real challenge. I feel it would be good for deaf child worldwide to come in Uganda because they are targeting the area of sign language training to parents and interested groups in the community. That is very, very important. The first issue is to solve the communication problem. And if you want to help the deaf people in the villages, the first thing is to solve the communication problem between them and their families and the community. If a deaf person is sick and he wants to go to school, the first thing should be communicating with the family before you go to the service providers. So I think it is important training sign language to parents. So we appreciate Deaf Child worldwide for the program, for the materials that have been provided. I feel it is the most important thing is communication, improving communication. Other things can come later on if we solve the communication barrier.
Seen positive changes in terms of maybe stigma towards deaf children in the last few years or since you've been working with UNAD, or do you still see it as a big challenge?
Yes, to a small extent, yes. But only that people do not know about deafness. That means awareness is lacking. If someone gets awareness, then the issue of discriminating will be out. They will be ready to help. For example, my parents, when I became deaf, they did not know how to help me. And also the community did not know how to help me. You see, they think you're hopeless. They think you're nothing. The years have gone and your life is finished. But after understanding that there are services, after understanding the rights of deaf people, after understanding awareness, and that they have a language, there's a language for deaf people, then they are ready to help. So I cannot say that the community is discriminating us, but the problem is lack of awareness. That is what I think it is very important. When you read the reports from the different researchers, the academicians, the consultants, many say negative attitude. But when you try to analyze this thing, the negative attitude, where does it come from? It comes from lack of awareness. So if you make awareness at community level, many people are interested and are ready to help deaf children and youth.
Okay. Thank you very much.